My name is Daniel Keller. I'm 41 years old, and for the past 12 years, I've been the inventory manager at a medical supply warehouse in suburban New Jersey. It's not glamorous work, tracking shipments, managing databases, making sure hospitals get their equipment on time, but it pays well enough. Good benefits, steady overtime, the kind of job that lets you buy a house and take vacations without checking your bank balance first. I met Melissa at a barbecue 14 years ago. She was the kind of woman who commanded attention without trying. Loud laugh, wild gestures when she told stories, eyes that sparkled when she drank her third beer. I was the quiet one nursing a single bottle in the corner, content to observe. Somehow she found me interesting. "You're mysterious," she'd said, sliding onto the bench beside me. I like that. We built a life together. No kids. We'd tried for 3 years before accepting it wasn't meant to be. I worked at the warehouse, managing inventory for a medical supply company. Good benefits, steady pay, enough overtime to afford our 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs. Melissa worked part-time at a boutique downtown, selling overpriced handbags to women who had too much money. We took a vacation every summer, nothing fancy, usually a week at the shore. We had anniversary dinners at the same Italian place every year, predictable, comfortable, safe, or so I thought. That Friday in March, I came home 2 hours early. My supervisor, Greg, had noticed me favoring my back after lifting a heavy pallet wrong. "Go home, ice it, see you Monday," he'd instructed. I didn't argue. The drive home was peaceful. Light traffic, NPR discussing some political scandal I'd already forgotten. I was thinking about surprising Melissa, maybe ordering from that Thai place she loved. Her car was in the driveway. I walked through the front door, calling out, "Mel, you home?" "Just running to the store," she yelled back from upstairs. I heard her footsteps, quick and purposeful, then she appeared at the top of the stairs. Her hair was perfect, too perfect for a lazy Friday afternoon. "You're early." "Everything okay?" she asked, concern in her voice. "Tweaked my back. Greg sent me home," I explained. She descended the stairs quickly, kissed my cheek. Her lips were warm, freshly applied lipstick, leaving a mark I'd later see in the hallway mirror. "I'll grab some ibuprofen while I'm out." "Need anything else?" she offered. "I'm good," I replied. She grabbed her purse, keys jingling. "Back in 20?" she called out cheerfully. The garage door rumbled closed. I stood in the hallway, something nagging at me. The house smelled different. Not bad, just different. Cleaner, maybe. Like she'd been using that expensive fabric spray she saved for when her mother visited. I walked upstairs heading for our bedroom to change, had to pass the guest room to get there. The door was ajar, unusual since Melissa kept it closed to keep the dust out. I pushed it open. The bed was made, military corners, hospital tight, decorative pillows arranged just so, fresh sheets. I could smell the detergent. The cream-colored ones with the tiny flowers, her favorite set. My stomach dropped. We hadn't had guests in 4 months, not since Melissa's college roommate visited for Thanksgiving. I'd changed those sheets myself afterward, replaced them with the plain blue set. Those sheets should still be on this bed. I walked closer, ran my hand along the comforter. Smooth, cool, recently ironed. The trash can beside the nightstand was empty, but a new bag had been placed inside. The surface of the nightstand gleamed. No dust. The alarm clock that usually sat there had been moved to the dresser. I heard the washing machine running downstairs. In the basement, I found the blue sheets stuffed inside, already mid-cycle. The dryer held 2 bath towels I didn't recognize. Dark gray, plush, definitely not from our linen closet. 20 minutes. She'd said 20 minutes. I went back upstairs, sat on our bed, and waited. Melissa returned with 3 grocery bags, chattering about traffic at the store, how they were out of my favorite coffee creamer, how she'd grabbed Chinese takeout instead of cooking. "You need to rest that back," she insisted, not meeting my eyes. "No arguments." During dinner, she was animated. Too animated. Laughing at things that weren't funny, touching my hand repeatedly, suggesting we watch a movie in bed. "Like when we were dating," she said with a smile too bright. I watched her carefully. The way she kept touching her neck, a nervous habit, how she'd reapplied perfume before dinner, the slight smudge of mascara under her left eye, like she'd rubbed it and tried to fix it quickly. "Everything okay?" I asked casually. "Perfect." "Why?" she responded quickly. "You seem energized," I observed. She laughed high and false. "Just happy you're home early." "We never get Friday afternoons together," she explained. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Melissa slept beside me. Her breathing was even, peaceful. One arm thrown across my chest, wedding ring catching the moonlight from the window. I spent the entire night replaying that image. Clean sheets on a bed that shouldn't have been touched. By morning, I knew I couldn't live with the questions eating me alive. Saturday morning, I called Brandon from my truck, parked outside Home Depot. Melissa thought I was buying mulch for the flower beds. Brandon answered on the second ring. "Danny, boy." "What's happening?" he greeted enthusiastically. "I need a favor," I said, watching a couple load lumber into their pickup. "A big one." "Name it," he replied without hesitation. "I need to monitor my house for security," I explained carefully. The line went quiet. Brandon had known me since high school. He could read the spaces between my words. "Security," he repeated slowly. "When?" "Today, if possible," I answered. "I'll be there in 2 hours." "Melissa home?" he asked. "She's getting her nails done." "Then lunch with her sister." "Won't be back until 3, I informed him. "Perfect," he confirmed. Brandon arrived in an unmarked van, dressed like any contractor in jeans and a polo. He carried 2 canvas bags that looked heavy, professional heavy. We stood in my foyer while he surveyed the layout. "How many rooms?" he asked, all business now. "Living room, our bedroom, and—" I paused. "The guest room." He nodded, no judgment in his eyes. "High def? Audio?" he questioned. "Everything," I confirmed. He unpacked his bags with practiced efficiency. The equipment was smaller than I'd expected. A smoke detector, a picture frame, an air freshener, a phone charger. "Latest generation," he explained. 4K resolution, night vision, motion activation, 150-degree field of view. We started in the guest room. Brandon replaced the existing smoke detector with his device, using the existing wiring for continuous power. "Battery backup lasts 72 hours if the power fails," he noted, making tiny adjustments. "Completely invisible unless someone takes it apart." I stood in the doorway, studying the room differently now. Melissa had insisted on redecorating it last year. New curtains, fresh paint, that expensive duvet cover from Pottery Barn. "For when we have company," she'd said at the time. What company? Her sister lived 20 minutes away. My parents were dead. We saw friends at restaurants, not in our home. In our bedroom, Brandon positioned a picture frame on the dresser. Our wedding photo, actually, which felt like a cruel irony. The camera lens was hidden in the decorative corner detail. "Covers the whole room," he assured me, checking his phone where the live feed displayed. The living room got an air freshener plugged into an outlet near the TV. Brandon had thought of everything. The devices looked so natural, so ordinary. "Even if someone's looking for cameras, these are medical-grade concealment. I use the same models for corporate security," he explained. He pulled out his tablet, fingers flying across the screen. "Installing the app on your phone now. Everything streams live, saves to encrypted cloud storage. 30-day rotation unless you flag something for permanent storage," he detailed. I watched him work. This friend who'd been my best man, who'd held me up when my father died, who was now helping me potentially destroy my marriage. "Brandon," I started. "Don't," he interrupted, not looking up. Whatever's happening, you need to know. That's all that matters. The app appeared on my phone, disguised as a home automation system. Brandon walked me through the interface, multiple camera views, motion alerts, search functionality for specific dates and times. The AI can detect different people, he explained further. It'll learn faces, track patterns. You'll know everyone who enters these rooms. We tested each camera. Crystal clear images, surprisingly good audio. I could hear birds outside through the guest room feed. Could see dust motes floating in our bedroom. The living room camera captured the entire space, including the hallway leading to the front door. Brandon packed his bags, then gripped my shoulder. Whatever you're looking for, I hope you don't find it, he said sincerely. I hope so too, I replied, meaning it. But I need to know. He paused at the door. The system's invisible, but once you start watching, you can't unsee things, Danny. Be sure you're ready for that, he warned. After he left, I sat on my couch, phone in hand, watching myself on 3 different screens. The house felt different now, observed, documented. Every room held a silent witness. I practiced switching between cameras, adjusting settings, testing the motion detection. A notification popped up when I walked from room to room. The timestamp was precise to the second. The quality was better than I'd expected. I could read the spines of books on our shelf, see individual dust particles when sunlight hit the guest room. Melissa texted, "Leaving salon now. Going to grab lunch with Beth. Love you." I responded normally. "Have fun. I'll be here working on the yard." But I didn't go outside. I sat there watching empty rooms on my phone, learning the rhythm of my house when no one was supposed to be home. The refrigerator humming, the grandfather clock in the hallway ticking, the occasional car passing outside. The cameras were invisible, but I felt them watching everything. Now all I had to do was wait and pretend my marriage wasn't balanced on the edge of a knife. Monday morning came like any other. Coffee at 5:30, shower at 5:45, kiss Melissa goodbye at 6:15. She was still in bed, hair spread across the pillow, mumbling about meeting a friend for lunch. Normal. Routine. Except for the phone in my pocket that could show me everything happening in my house. At the warehouse, I tried to focus on work. Inventory reports, shipping manifests, the usual Monday morning chaos. But I checked the app every hour. Empty rooms, silent house. Melissa left at 9:47, wearing her blue sundress, the one that showed her legs. At 11:23, my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Living room. My hands shook as I opened the app. Melissa was back, earlier than expected. But she wasn't alone. A man walked through my living room like he belonged there. Mid-20s, athletic build, dark hair styled with too much product. He wore jeans and a fitted t-shirt that showed he spent time at the gym. Everything I wasn't. Young, confident, built like someone who'd never spent 12-hour shifts moving medical supplies. Melissa appeared in frame, and my world shattered. She kissed him. Not a greeting kiss. Not a friendly kiss. The kind of kiss she used to give me when we were young and hungry for each other. Her hands in his hair, his arms around her waist, bodies pressed together like they were trying to merge into one person. They laughed about something. I had the audio on but couldn't process words, just sounds. She took his hand, led him toward the stairs. The living room camera lost them, but I knew where they were going. I switched to the guest room feed. They entered together, Melissa already pulling her sundress over her head. The boy, that's what he was, a boy, had his shirt off before the door closed. They fell onto the bed, onto those fresh sheets I'd discovered 3 days ago, and I watched my wife become someone I didn't recognize. She was alive in a way I hadn't seen in years, passionate, aggressive, making sounds I thought she'd forgotten how to make. The boy knew exactly what to do, where to touch, how to move. This wasn't their first time. They had a rhythm, a familiarity that spoke of practice. "Family emergency," I told Greg, already heading for my truck. I have to go." The drive home took 23 minutes. I watched at red lights, unable to look away. They'd moved from the bed to the dresser, then back to the bed. Melissa's face was flushed, ecstatic, younger looking than she'd seemed in months. I thought about calling, warning them, giving them a chance to scatter like roaches when the lights come on. Instead, I drove in silence, letting rage build with each mile. The baseball bat was in the garage, left corner, behind the rakes. A Louisville slugger from my brief attempt at joining the company softball team 3 years ago. The weight felt good in my hands. Solid. Real. I entered my house quietly. Could hear them upstairs. Laughter, movement, the rhythmic squeak of bed springs. My footsteps were silent on the carpeted stairs. 14 steps up. Turn right. 3 doors down. The guest room door was cheap, hollow core, builder grade. It exploded inward when I kicked it. Melissa screamed. The boy scrambled backward, tangled in sheets, eyes wide with terror. I stood in the doorway, bat in hand, taking in the scene. My wife, naked and vulnerable. The boy, pathetic and small despite his muscles. The room that smelled like intimacy and betrayal. "Daniel!" Melissa shrieked. "This isn't... I can explain!" The boy tried to bolt past me. Bad decision. The bat caught him in the ribs, not full strength, just enough to drop him. He gasped, crawled toward his clothes. I let him grab his jeans, his shirt, didn't stop him from stumbling toward the door. "Run!" I commanded. He ran. Down the stairs, through my living room, out my front door. No shoes, no underwear, shirt clutched to his chest. The last I saw was his car, a red Honda Civic, peeling out of my driveway. Melissa was sobbing, pressed against the headboard, sheet pulled to her chin. "Danny, please let me explain," she begged. "Don't," I cut her off. I set the bat against the wall, pulled out my phone. "Want to see something interesting?" I showed her the feed from the past hour. Her face went from red to white as she watched herself on the small screen. You were watching?" she whispered in disbelief. 3 cameras, a month of footage," I informed her coldly. I scrolled back through the timeline. "Here's you with him last Tuesday, and the Thursday before. Oh, and this one's my favorite, last Monday when you told me you were visiting your sister." She stared at the phone, then at me. "How long have you known?" she asked quietly. "I found the sheets, Melissa." "Friday. Fresh sheets on a bed that shouldn't have been touched," I explained. I pocketed the phone. "That was your mistake. Everything else was perfect, but you had to wash the evidence." "It didn't mean anything," she protested. 4 times in 3 weeks doesn't mean anything?" I countered. "I was lonely. You're always at work, always tired," she tried to justify. "So you f***ed a child in our guest room?" I snapped. She flinched at the vulgarity. In 14 years, I'd never spoken to her like that. "He's 26. He works at the gym," she offered weakly. "I don't care if he's a rocket scientist," I interrupted. I picked up the bat again, not as a threat, just to have something to hold. "Get dressed. Pack what you need. You have 1 hour." "Danny, please. We can get counseling. I'll end it. I'll never," she pleaded desperately. 1 hour, Melissa. After that, I call your sister, your mother, your boss at the boutique. Everyone gets to see the videos," I stated firmly. She stumbled from the bed, grabbing clothes, crying harder now. "You can't do this." "This is my home too," she protested. "Check the prenup." Adultery clause. "You get nothing," I reminded her coldly. As I watched that coward run naked into the street, I realized the real revenge hadn't even started yet. Melissa was about to learn what 14 years of loyalty was worth. Melissa tried everything over the next 3 days. Tears, anger, bargaining. She showed up at the warehouse during my lunch break, mascara streaking her cheeks, begging for another chance. Greg had to escort her out. She sent dozens of texts, apologies, accusations, threats of self-harm. I responded to exactly one, "Don't lie." I knew the truth when I found those sheets in the washer. That was the moment you gave yourself away. Wednesday morning, I met with Patricia Winters, the divorce attorney Brandon had recommended. Her office was all sharp edges and cold efficiency, which suited me perfectly. I laid out the situation, showed her selected footage on my phone. "This is comprehensive," she observed, professional mask not quite hiding her surprise. "The prenuptial agreement you mentioned?" I handed her the document we'd signed 14 years ago, right after our wedding, when Melissa insisted she'd never be one of those women who took a man for everything. "Paragraph 7, Section 3, I pointed out. Patricia smiled, a shark recognizing blood in the water. "In case of infidelity, the cheating party forfeits all claims to marital assets," she read aloud. She looked up. "This video evidence makes it ironclad. She'll get nothing except what she brought into the marriage." "Which was debt from her student loans that I paid off," I added. "Then she gets nothing," she confirmed with satisfaction. While Patricia prepared the divorce papers, I handled the rest. Changed every password. Email, Netflix, Amazon, everything. Canceled her credit cards, removed her from the joint checking account. She'd have access to her own checking account, the one with $847 in it. The gym where the boy worked was easy to find. Melissa had mentioned it. Iron Fit, 6 blocks from her boutique. His name was Tyler Brennan. Instagram influencer wannabe with 3,000 followers and a feed full of shirtless selfies. Engaged to a pretty blonde named Ashley who worked as a dental hygienist. I created an anonymous email account, attached the clearest video clips, and sent them to Ashley with the subject line, "You deserve to know." Then I sent the same package to Iron Fit's corporate HR department, noting that Tyler had been using his position as a trainer to sleep with married clients. Thursday, Melissa discovered she couldn't access our savings account. The boutique called. Someone had sent them an anonymous tip about an employee's moral character, complete with screenshots. Her boss, a conservative woman who prided herself on running a family-friendly establishment, fired her on the spot. Her sister Beth called me that evening. "What the hell did you do?" she demanded angrily. "I told the truth," I responded calmly. "You destroyed her," she accused. "No, Beth." She destroyed herself. "I just made sure everyone knew about it," I corrected. By Friday, the story had spread through our social circle like wildfire. Melissa's college friends, her book club, the women she had wine nights with, they all received a tastefully edited email explaining why I was seeking divorce, with just enough detail to paint the picture. The response was swift and brutal. She was uninvited from a wedding, dropped from the book club, ghosted by friends who didn't want to be associated with a cheater. Tyler lost his job and his fiancée on the same day. Ashley posted a rage-filled story on Instagram, tagging him and ensuring his humiliation was public. He tried calling Melissa, but she didn't answer. She had bigger problems. Saturday morning, Melissa stood in our bedroom with 2 suitcases, supervised by Patricia, who was there to ensure she only took what was legally hers. Clothes, jewelry she'd bought herself, personal items. The engagement ring I'd saved 6 months to buy. Marital asset. The car I'd paid off last year. Marital asset. The furniture, the electronics, everything that made our house a home. All mine. "Where am I supposed to go?" she asked plaintively, not for the first time. "That's not my problem anymore," I replied without sympathy. She looked at me then, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. "You're enjoying this," she accused. "I'm enjoying the justice of it," I clarified. "I made a mistake," she started. 4 times, at least. "That's not a mistake, Melissa. That's a choice." "Multiple choices," I interrupted. "She found a studio apartment in a sketchy part of town. the only place that would approve her with no job and minimal savings. I knew because she'd had to list me as a reference, and the landlord called to verify she'd lived at my address. 2 weeks later, I heard through Brandon that she'd gotten a job at a discount clothing store, the kind where everything smells like plastic and sadness. The divorce was finalized in record time, uncontested, given the evidence. Melissa showed up to court in a borrowed dress, alone except for a public defender who seemed annoyed to be there. She signed the papers without reading them, shoulders slumped in defeat. I kept the house, the savings, the investments, the good car. She kept her clothes and her shame. The judge barely looked up as he stamped the decree. She tried reaching out through mutual friends afterward. "Tell Danny I'm sorry. Ask Danny if we can talk. Let Danny know I'm getting therapy." I never responded. She was a stranger now, someone who used to live in my house and sleep in my bed. She walked out of our house with 2 suitcases and a broken spirit. I had won completely, so why did victory feel so hollow? 1 year later, I stand in what used to be our guest room, now my home office. The bed is gone, replaced with a desk where I manage the online business I started 6 months ago. Turns out, years of inventory management translate well to e-commerce. I'm making more money than I ever did at the warehouse, and I set my own hours. The cameras are still there, the smoke detector, the picture frame in my bedroom, the air freshener in the living room. Not because I'm paranoid, but because they've become part of the house's architecture, silent witnesses to a life rebuilt. Melissa works at dollar discount, according to Beth, who still calls occasionally to guilt me. 30 hours a week, no benefits, living paycheck to paycheck in that studio apartment. She's dating someone new, a co-worker who drives a beat-up Corolla and has 2 kids from a previous marriage. A far cry from Tyler the gym rat. I've started dating again, nothing serious yet. Coffee dates, dinner occasionally. A woman named Sarah from my business networking group seems interested. She's divorced too, caught her husband with his secretary. Such a cliché. We laugh about it sometimes, 2 survivors comparing war stories. The house feels different now, lighter. I replaced all the furniture Melissa had chosen, painted the walls colors I actually like. The living room is darker, more masculine. The kitchen has proper equipment now, not just decorative items. It's my space entirely. Tyler moved to another state, according to his abandoned Instagram. His engagement ended, his fitness influencer dreams crushed. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about that day, about the baseball bat and the running and the consequences. Probably not. Boys like him never learn. Brandon comes over for beer and football most Sundays. He never mentions the cameras or asks about that day. We've reached an understanding. Some things are better left in the past, even when they're recorded in 4K resolution. I sleep well now. No tossing, no turning, no wondering. The king-size bed is mine alone, and I spread out like a starfish, taking up all the space I was always too polite to claim. The sheets are always clean because I wash them myself, on my schedule, navy blue ones that I chose. Sometimes I think about those 14 years. The barbecue where we met. The wedding where Melissa cried happy tears. The vacations, the anniversaries, the quiet moments that seemed meaningful at the time. It all feels like someone else's life now, a movie I watched once and barely remember. The truth is, I don't miss her. I miss the idea of her, the person I thought she was. But that person never existed. The real Melissa was someone who could smile at me over breakfast, kiss me goodbye, then spend her afternoon f***ing a stranger in our guest room. That's who she always was. I just couldn't see it. Some men might call it ruthless. I call it justice. And I've never slept better. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.